Okay, let's now go to the briefing of Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte.
Rallies. But in the guidelines from now on, all rallies should have permits from the local government. If they do not want to apply for a permit, they conduct their rally in the Freedom Park.
Mayor, will curfew be implemented?
Wala pa. As of now, what we have is we discourage minors from going out in the evening unless it is an emergency and they are accompanied by an adult. We are waiting for the parameters to be set by the AFP and the Office of the President, and we are waiting for the President to arrive so that we can go through the proclamation of martial law so that we can add additional guidelines to what we already have this afternoon. The BE, ma'am? So, 5 to 5. 5 to 5. 5 to 5. Yes? Discourage lang man. Discourage. It's not a violation of any ordinance or barangay ordinance or law, but we discourage the parents from allowing their minor children to go out in the evenings. We encourage body system. We understand the iftar is conducted in the evening, wala pa'y sun. So, yes, we encourage our Muslim brothers and sisters who will conduct their iftar in the evenings to conduct a body system. So may kasama, papunta at pabalik sa bahay nila. Yes, oo. Yes, ma'am.
What's the purpose of the body system? Is it to prevent radiation of
wala man. Because ma'am, we do not know kung sino ang sa ngayon hindi natin alam kung sino ang kalaban natin na nasa loob. Violence may escalate anytime. That is one of the points that was discussed last night. That violence may escalate inside Davao City or problems may come in to Davao City. So, isa yon sa mga kine-consider natin. That's why we are asking everybody to secure themselves.
Nag-uwi na ba ang MNLF sa inyong Habang regarding the security that they are willing to help coordinate with the city government for the situation?
Wala pa. Wala pa may nag-discuss sa MNLF. Best if the MNLF can coordinate with the armed forces of the Philippines since situation of martial law, ang AFP ang lead organization who will execute the things that are needed to conduct a martial law. Yes. Sa lockdown last night, nobody can go out and come in of Davao City. So in-adjust na namin yan ngayon. We are doing a hold and secure, increased security measures inside Davao City and going into Davao City, considering that there are incidents happening outside of Davao City. So what we are doing now is preventing the violence from coming in to Davao City and preventing violence from erupting inside the city.
And terrorism is not really far behind. I might declare martial law throughout the country to protect people.
Speaking on Wednesday after cutting short his official visit to Russia, Duterte initially talks about expanding the scope of martial rule to the Visayas, since it is right beside Mindanao.
I might also decide to suspend the writ of habeas corpus in the Visayas. Remember that this is not intended for the law-abiding citizen. We are the least of your worry. But if you confront government and my orders are one, to enforce the law, and anyone caught possessing a gun and confronting us with violence, my orders are shoot to kill.
Duterte says he will be harsh in implementing martial law, which he adds will not be any different from military rule under dictator Ferdinand Marcos. On May 19, he said in a speech that declaring martial law may solve all of Mindanao's problems.
Ako nag-warning talaga. Please do not force my hand into it. I hate to do it. I do not want to do it. Pero pagka there will be loss of lives needlessly, tapos kawalang rason-rason just to kill, and kill, I will declare martial law in Mindanao. And if I declare martial law in Mindanao, I will solve all that ails the island.
Duterte critic Senator Sonny Trillanes says martial law in Mindanao is a prelude to the imposition of martial law nationwide. He says martial law in Mindanao is, quote, baseless and not warranted since conflict is confined to Marawi in Lanao del Sur. He adds Duterte did not even give the armed forces of the Philippines enough time to assess the situation and act on the matter.
Kaya parang naging yung trigger happy na kating-kating mag-declare na hindi man lang binigyan man lang ng konting panahon yung armed forces to give an assessment or makontrol man lang yung situation bago nag-declare na gano'n. So,
Trillanes says Duterte is clearly testing the waters for a nationwide military rule.
bibigyan mo ng palugit ito si Duterte, ang susunod dito yung buong Pilipinas na. Di ba? Sinasanay niya, kinukondisyon niya yung isipan ng mamamayan na yung martial law okay lang. Hindi yan. Extreme option yan. Ano? Ang requisites nga niyan ay invasion o rebellion.
Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio declares Davao City on lockdown past midnight Wednesday. The move came as government forces and terrorist groups clashed in Marawi City Tuesday afternoon. The mayor, who is also the president's daughter, makes the announcement after an emergency meeting with government and security officials. Marawi and Lanao del Sur is 256 kilometers away from Davao City, the Philippines' largest city. Sara Duterte advises Davao residents to stay indoors and urges visitors to cancel their trips to Davao. She says that if they don't want to be thoroughly inspected in multiple checkpoints, they should not come to the city. Carpio also says, aside from having set up checkpoints on land, police officers are now stationed in coastal areas. The mayor reiterated that martial law means the government can conduct warrantless arrests and may change the time of the curfew. Over in Marawi, Bishop Edwin de la Peña says the MAUTE terrorist group kidnapped a priest, a college professor, and at least 3 others in its attack on Marawi City. He identifies some of the hostages as Father Teresito Soganub, de la Peña's Vicar General, Wendelin Mayormita, the parish secretary, and Professor Maria Luisa Nicnic Colina, the parish council president. Mindanao lawmakers, led by Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez, says the declaration of martial law in Mindanao is justifiable given the other security problems faced by the region. Alvarez, a representative from Davao del Norte, says Duterte made the right decision. The lawmakers who openly support the move include Surigao del Sur Representative Johnny Pimentel and Davao City Representative Carlo Nograles. Residents of Marawi City were jolted by loud explosions Tuesday afternoon when clashes erupted between the military and local terrorist groups. The situation worsened as power was cut and clashes continued. On Tuesday, a policeman was killed and 5 soldiers were wounded in the clashes. The 1987 Constitution allows the President to declare martial law to prevent or suppress lawless violence, invasion, or rebellion. Duterte must submit a report, in person or in writing, to Congress within 48 hours after the proclamation of martial law or the suspension of the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus. Congress, voting jointly and by a vote of a majority of its members, may revoke or extend the President's declaration if the invasion or rebellion shall persist and public safety requires it. Alvarez and Nograles noted that the 1987 Constitution has safeguards against abuse in relation to martial law. On the other hand, Senators Ralph Recto and Panfilo Lacson and leaders of the House of Representatives Minority Bloc see a failure of intelligence in the Marawi attack. Recto says it is highly probable, well, for obvious reasons. Lacson questioned how the armed MAUTE group was able to enter the area while police operations were ongoing against Abu Sayyaf leader Isnilon Hapilon. House Minority Leader Danilo Suarez also questions why authorities were unable to track the MAUTE group and prevent it from attacking. For her part, Vice President Leni Robredo urges skeptics to trust the military in implementing martial law in Mindanao. Robredo met with the military a day after President Rodrigo Duterte declared martial law in Mindanao. A human rights lawyer, Robredo has been vocal about her stance against the return of authoritarian rule to the country through martial law. The much-anticipated Public-Private Partnership or PPP projects aimed at developing 5 small regional airports across the Philippines have been cancelled. In a statement, the PPP Center says the Department of Transportation and the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines decided the projects would be implemented through other modes. Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade says they will develop airports in Bacolod, Davao, Iloilo, Laguindingan, and Bohol by using funds from the national budget, making the projects cheaper. These 5 airport deals, cumulatively worth some 108.9 billion pesos, were previously rolled out under the administration of former President Benigno Aquino. The administration of President Rodrigo Duterte decided to unbundle the airports and bid them out individually. The decision to terminate the auction caught prospective bidders off guard. Philinvest COO Eleuterio Coronel says he's disappointed and embarrassed over the abrupt termination of the PPP auction. Metro Pacific Chief Finance Officer David Nicol says it's the government's call. U.S. President Donald Trump meets Pope Francis at the Vatican for the first time Wednesday. Before the private audience, the pontiff and Trump posed for the cameras in a cordial handshake. It came on the 3rd leg of Trump's first overseas trip as president, which has already taken him to Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the Palestinian territories. Trump and the Pope have clashed repeatedly on several issues, ranging from migration to unbridled capitalism and climate change. They also disagree on issues like the death penalty and the arms trade, but both oppose abortion.